Hello, this is Plume Silver. I got a reading here for a person that I just did yesterday. This story is going to be about a sort of a situation that kind of just developed in the last week, and things are new, so I'm a bit out of breath, but I'll be catching up soon. So I'm going to show you the tarot card here. I've got the Seeker of Chalice here in the center here. She was just thrown into some very, very deep emotional situation, really. Like, it's like, oh my God, it's like, it's basically when you're throwing yourself into a new situation, you kind of like go for it. You've been forced to just trust whatever path you're taking right now. Especially if you're looking at the cards in her future. The tower here, the tower is like, you're literally, whole house is, on fire. And if you want to change things, you've been expelled in a way. You're expelled from a situation that was created, that was solid and firm, and it wasn't changing. It was like sort of stuck. And it was creating an obstacle, so you had to change, almost like everything just went explosive, and it's causing trouble. The Three of Orbs here is causing, it's electrifying, just look at this. It's definitely, the whole thing is just a big change. It says there will be a lot of challenge and trouble here. You are trusting your higher self here because you have to go within, you have to go into the darkness of things to start to be able to, you've been forced to go in something deep, dark within, and your emotion in the water, and you close your eyes and sort of looking within. You've been forced by whom? Well, let's say here. You see, when I was looking at these cards here, I could see that there was a Chariot here. That card, the Chariot, is like you've got two forces. Now I find it interesting that it's two forces because it's about two daughters that are here, the two crystal. They're sort of juggling the things. Or rather, the force that is pushing her, and she was stuck here. Five of Chalice here. She was kind of sort of in living a nightmare because she felt where is she gonna go? There's trouble, but the trouble got too overwhelming, and she's pushed, and she had just no choice to go, and that's it. And it's troubling. Okay, so it's troubling, but at the same time, there's a higher self says, well, you have no choice to do it. So this draw here, the tarot cards, is sort of explaining the feeling that we're going to get when we get into more detail and know who's what and what kind of role each person has. So I'm going to put that aside, and it's kind of interesting to look at the crystal here to know that these are the daughter. They did that pushing here, the two forces. I believe that. And the choice that she had to make it was basically having no choice to do it because they were shying away. Like, she was left alone. She wasn't going to be able to, it was a nightmare. It was not a good situation. So I'm going to put these aside here, and I'm going to look at the Lenormand draw here. Usually if you want to know quickly what's going on in the draw, you look at the four corners. And the four corner, I see here, the riders here, they're little mice. The riders are bringing news. They're the liaison. They're the ones who are sort of connected. They're all connected together. There's little workers, two silent worker. That's why I think these are the daughters. They're the ones who are actually bringing the news to her. They're bringing information, and they're actually, we will come to realize they're the fox here. They're the ones who are trying to make things move. So that these riders here are creating a situation that if you want to be part of the flow of things, the family, the whatever, just a bunch of fish together, when they move and they flow, they're synchronized. So if you want to be synchronized with what we're going towards, you're going to have to go and face your demons. And there's going to be here the demons in like going within, like in the higher self. And there's going to be communication. You're going to have to do a lot of talking. You're going to have to start really show through talking what's going on with him, because that's what's going to help you. Because this is how you're going to reconnect ring in the house of ring here with your children. It's about children, because you see, it's about the contract and the liaison that you have with your children, and the children here, the love of your children, to be able to continue to see them change in the stork here, to see the future children too, that will be your happiness bouquet, and to live with in the home, to be with your children. And this is because this line is very important to look at that. And you see in the scythe here, which is about cutting something has been cut away. What has been cut away in this situation that is created problem for the woman that we're going to over there. We're going to tell you why she's over there. The lilies is about wisdom. It's usually an older person. So I'm going to take, knowing the context, I'm going to say that this is about the grandmother, the relationship of being the grandmother has been cut away, because if you want to see your children, there's some conditions that have been given, all through communication, to make things move, to be disciplined. If you want to be able to be fortunate to be part of this happiness that is over there, to be fortunate. You see this clover. Clover is about you're gambling also, but it's not only about gambling. If you really want to have that chance to be able to move and have these conversations, these contact with your family, the birds, and not to be cut away from your child, you're going to need to have to listen to the writers that are the fox. The fox, they're charming you. They're sort of manipulating you with words. They kind of they're the ones who push that forced condition. They created conditions. So for the bear, to be back into the family, in the root of the family, and to be the mother, the grandmother. You see, that line here is important. Like the happiness of a home, and the bouquet here. It depends. This is what, if you want that, and then your direction, stars, in the house of the stars, it has the whip and the broom, which means that you have to be very disciplined in what you're doing, what the conditions that have been given to you. So we looked at the four corners, so that the top line also has the whole story together, because these mice here, the little workers, and I will call them the daughters, because they're the ones they're small children. There's many of them. That means even the future children. That if you want to be able to always see the new ones coming, or hear the news of new ones coming, and now be in the dark, so you could be lucky to know with the light that is coming, the children, and you want to move with the condition, you will suffer a little bit, because you will suffer if in the house here, if you're not part of it, to be connected and remove these obstacles. These obstacles have to be removed. The cloud, in the house of cloud here, there was a deep isolation. This woman was living a deep isolation, just because it was a big obstacle at the root of things that made her suffer, and that she was not capable to go with the flow of what was going on in her home. But now she's faced it, and she's in the house of snake, and snakes means there was a deception. She's looking at her past. She also obviously was a person who deceived these people here. She deceived them. She's looking back, and there's a huge obstacle. There's a lot of things that were created, and that's why she was isolated. She deceived them, and that's why she was isolated, and there was a wall between them, and that created a lot of pain in her home, her family home, her base. And that's what the woman in the snake here in the house says, that who I'm reading it for, she did something that deceived them, and it's the habit and the condition that created. And there also could have been some things that were said, which I know the story, so that's why I could say that how important it is to know that the woman being in the house of snake, it's powerful. And even when I knighted the woman, and to go see where other cards would have been knighted is like playing like chess. You go one off and down two. It went into the house of crossroad, which is path and choices she made, things that the choice she made and how she spoke or said things, and it happens to be the snake. So there's definitely a powerful message here that says that deception was at the core of things, and that because the path she picked. Now we will night the other way, and it goes here into the house of heart, which is broke. It killed her heart to be living like this, and it, you see the house of mice here, just like the little mice here, has the bear, and the bear is the grandmother. This is like the protector, and she was like, you see, this person here was suffering, and it killed her at the heart to have done even this deception. It chose the wrong path, and it also hurt her connection with the mice, which the mice, I think, is her little workers. They're helping her to reconnect with the grandmother. And if we look at this line here, the woman there and the man there, who is in the house of sun, that's important because her man who's in her life is bringing sunshine, he's bringing clarity, he's bringing tricks and help with words, and not just words, but just because the sun here is in the house of book, and the sun in the house of book means it's about knowledge, maybe way to how to handle the situation that is going to be quite turmoil and very hard, and also saying let's stay to communication, because the book is here in letter. He's showing how to be informed. The book in the house of letter means it's definitely about, you're gonna have to dig into a lot of information. And the man here that is in the house, the garden that is in the house of man, it says that you're gonna need to keep your contact and reaching out to the public. You may need help from outside, but also if you want to keep being in contact with your family, the one that is growing outside, and the man is giving you advice for that. He's really a family man, and he believes that you need to know the law. Jesus is helping you a lot here because he's connected to these cards. Just being like in the sun, the book, the letter, and he says you're gonna need, like, if you want to fight those obstacles in the house of mountain, and you're gonna have to keep the contact with your children, or you want to stay in contact, you're gonna have to face these obstacles, and especially because these obstacles are keeping you away from the house of truth. They're keeping you away from being connected to your family at the roots, and to be the grandmother, So we have that for the man, and I wanted to show that really interesting, that the child here, the house of ring, because that's the commitment that she's making to, or she was going to lose. It was being cut away because there was definitely some isolation but now there's a transition. You see that isolation is in a transition. It's in the house of cloud. I think that's what's fantastic about saying, okay, so it won't be any more isolated, because that's what the problem was, to be isolated. And those the writer here, in being in the house of fox, they really are the one who manipulated this situation to cause this tower moment, just like in the tarot cards. They did that because they really are at the root of this situation, because there's these two here, and if you look at this woman here, she's and then there's some cups here, and that indicates also a little bit of an interesting message. Tarot cards, often you can look at images and read even the symbols in there and say, look at it. So there's these two cups here. This is 5 actually. She's the 5th, and then there's 2 that are spilled. It's like talking about a situation is about drinking, and that I kept her isolated, and they were very upset about that. There was like they say, well, we're going to manipulate this situation. We're going to gamble this situation by pushing a force and new information, new demands, new things that they're requesting, and that just threw her off into like a life of like suddenly having to dig deep to say how I'm going to deal with this trouble in the tower. So that this is a powerful draw that really indicates that if you really want to have the solution to this situation, hopefully I didn't move this too much here. The key here, these 4 cards, the key to have the solution, what are the most important thing here is to stay in that direction. What direction are we talking about? Well, let's go see what the star is. The house of star is here. The direction, it says, well, a broom and a whip. What is a whip? A whip, broom is sweep things, sweep old demons that are like stopping from you to flow towards what would be good to be part of the group. And the direction is also disciplined. Like, discipline what? Well, you're going to have to be disciplined at whatever you take to change the problem that was causing. And if it's about the drinking, well, that's it. You have to do this, because this was at the heart of it. It was going to kill you, but kill you because it was going to kill you. The heart. Let's find out what the heart, to not be able to be part of seeing the changes, the children that were coming, you know. And there's another thing I found interesting is the dog in the house of dog. Wow, that is powerful. And not only the dog is a very wise, because I'm just going to take the card at the top to say and give it quality to the dog, is a very wise, friendly, they're friends. That means everybody it wants to help. There's a lot, everyone's a friend to help this situation, and to even help bring information, knowledge, understand things, and because to want to succeed, like the sun calls for success. And books also is interesting, because when I asked you what would help you to be able to give you as much pleasure in life, you mentioned one thing. It was the books, reading books, loving reading books. Well, there you go. Your success is in books here too. To just stay communication, keep the communication, and then keep reading. The House of the Tower. Let's go look at the House of the Tower. For your isolation, to come out of your isolation and go through that transition that is in the House of the Tower here. We have the moon, and the moon, that means is you need to keep the communication in the House of Moon. You need to stay to communicate with your little birds. That means your family, everyone, because everybody's a friend here. Everybody wants to help you, especially your husband there, who's your sunshine, and he knows how to. He has the force. The woman here. Oh, look at that. The woman here, the 2 women. That's not you. These 2 birds. These are your 2 daughters. They're right there. The man here is want to make sure that you stay contact with everybody here. So the moon in the house, a tower. If you want to get out of that isolation, you need to reflect about. You need to show what you're doing. And you have to be honest, because it's what people are going to think of you, to stay in contact with you, to stay committed, and to stay committed to the House of Garden, to stay committed to everyone. You literally have to open up, because you can't stay in isolation, because this situation, you need your friends. You need everyone to help you here. The lilies, I wanted to show the lily to be cut away. The lilies, the grandmother, if she feels cut away, she needs to take a new path here. The lilies here, the house, the snake here, the crossroad. Isn't that interesting? The crossroad here is here, and then that's the house of crossroad. That snake is not a bad thing. A snake, you know. I'm a snake. We're born. Actually, you know what? You're a snake, the Chinese sign. So that little snake here has to take a new path if she wants to be mature and to be the grandmother. And that's really important here. I think I looked at all the cards. And I like the idea that the ship is in the house of bird here, because it says if you want things to move, you have to change things to stay in contact. And you need to listen to these little frogs here. They're there. You see, they're looking at each other. Say, "We're here. We're the ones. You want to stay. You want to be able to stay in the light of things." And then that's it. They're like sort of. This indicates it clearly that it's about them. They okay, yeah. The reason I went with the key here, the direction is the discipline, and the gift. What's the gift? Is the gift is to be able to connect with its home, its family, it's the base, and you're gonna have to let it flow. You basically are gonna have to see the house of fish. I mean, the fish are in the coffin. That means, oh my God, if you really want to be able to have that gift to be connected and not be cut away from your family, you're gonna need to have to face that demon. That no one is gonna cause you trouble. That we know those little cups that have been spilled there, and to bring stability. And because you were stuck here, it was causing you a lot of pain, stuck in the house across here. To be able to see anchors so close to each other. You're right in the center of the situation right now. See the anchors here, and this door here says that it's a little cage of birds and all that. You want to be able to open up the communication with them because it was cut away. You need to get unstuck from what you were suffering, and because you were causing this sufferance to yourself. And to get unstuck, you need to face or where's the coffin? The cross. The cross is here. So because you've been cut away, you were locked into your home. So you were stuck. You're kind of hiding in there, like hiding in your home there, and suffering quietly. So this says the advice here. The gift is, you've got to face those demons. It's not going to be easy. You will open up the communication. It will get unstuck just because you're going to open the door, and you will have to face a lot of challenge still in your home because it was really stubborn. There you go. All right. So I wanted to kind of do this draw with more specific answer to the context, and we know that this is about recontacting the children and have contact, not losing that contact. And it's really good that the card showed that it was about a grandmother. And there you go. So I hope you like that, everybody. All right, bye.